Good morning. Welcome back to the garage. This is our third day at the Suburban Stead of working on the Chuck Wagon that we picked up from a friend. More specifically, we are working on the Honda GX390 engine. We have a problem here that we can get it started and it can idle just fine, but when we apply throttle uh, to rev up the engine, it stalls. So we replaced a bunch of parts over the past 2 days that we've worked on this in the garage. So we've got more parts we're going to replace today and continue the process of troubleshooting and trying to identify the problem. One of our biggest challenges is that there was old gas in the fuel tank and in the fuel line, and it was just not getting to the engine. Ew. So we replaced the fuel line, but we also needed to clean out the fuel tank. When we did that, we pulled this elbow and we actually broke the grommet and it would no longer stay in. So the good news here is that that was a major problem for us, being able to keep that elbow up and tight into the bottom of the fuel tank. So we replaced the grommet. We had a pretty tough time actually of putting it in there, which was good because we knew it was tight. And the great news here, it doesn't leak. Nice. To make it easier to get access to the engine, we took off the dump bed in the back, which, by the way, that thing's freaking wicked heavy. Now we're going to go after the spark plug and the muffler. And it looks like it's going to be easier to do this. I'm going to take off this shield for the belt drive. Took the shield off for this belt drive, and I got a closer look here at the engine. If you see the engine block just behind the clutch there, or whatever that thing is called, you'll see right here that this is filled with something. And there's one's down here too. I don't know what that is. And there's a bolt missing there, and it looks like it was filled with something once as well. So what does that mean? It means, I don't know, somebody was in there, um, didn't put the bolts back, filled it up with something. I don't know. I don't think that's affecting the performance, but let's get on the other stuff and we'll think about all that later. When I pulled the shield off of the belt drive, these rags were stuck down here below the engine, um, and on top of the mounting plate. And I don't know if these rags were put there purposely or if they just made their way there. It looks like it may have been, I don't know, it looks like all dirt. I was going to say it looked burned, but it doesn't. There was also this rock that was wedged in to a piece over here on this side, but it would have easily, you would have seen it if you had taken the shield off. So anyway, it's out. We'll be replacing the muffler. We bought a brand new one here. It was about 50 bucks, but the current muffler that's on the unit right now, it was just missing too many parts. So rather than trying to mess with that, we just went ahead and ordered a new one. We'll go ahead and install that today as well. I removed the muffler and I'm just comparing it here with the new one. By the way, the old one was super heavy when we pulled it out, and I don't know why. But you'll see it's missing the protection that kind of wraps around it because it gets super hot. It's also missing a bolt, and it's also missing the exhaust deflector, which pushes the exhaust off to the side. According to the engine specs, it had the wrong spark plug. So we picked up the new one. It is a BPR6ES. With a new carburetor, new air filter, new spark plug, and new muffler, we wanted to readdress the fuel line before we fire it up again. What we're looking to do here is get that fuel line into a more straight and streamlined position. Here we're checking the fuel line. We want to make sure that we've got good flow and also take some of the air out of the line. All right, so looks like I got a lot of the air out. Maybe not 100%, don't know if it's supposed to be. Day 4, I am removing this throttle shield so I can get to the throttle controls. We believe we've got a spring problem. looks like the springs are okay on the throttle control mechanism. It still doesn't seem to be idling correctly, and when we give it gas, if we give it gas too fast, it stalls out. And then when we give max gas, it stalls out as well. So we'll do a couple of things here. First is I'm going to check with the idle pin right here. I've got it on the factory setting, but I'm going to turn it all the way in and then start it up and see if there's an idle difference. And then we're going to take it all the way out and just check and see. So the idle all the way in. All right, we took the idle all the way out, and that didn't seem to do anything. I'm going to set it back to factory settings. I have the idle set at 2.5 turns from all the way in. Let's check the bowl. So it's just turned the fuel off and it stops. So now I'm turning the fuel on and it drips. So we know that the bowl is getting fuel. So here we have the fuel all the way on. So I'm going to go halfway, start it up, see if the accelerator works and stops it from stalling. And I just don't know why it does that. So it didn't seem to make a difference when we put this halfway, or even close for that matter. When we get up to a certain amount of throttle, as long as I ease into it, everything works fine. But as I apply just a little bit more throttle, it begins to stall and it dies out. So I just don't understand what's going on. The only thing I can think of from here is to take that new carburetor back out, just look at it all and see if the jet is clogged. But we've got the right fuel, oil. We know I'm pretty sure we've got vacuum to draw the fuel in. Just really struggling here to get this thing operating optimally. All right, we'll check back in a bit. Bye.